Well, Russian airstrikes have left 8 people wounded and damaged a historic art museum in the southern Ukrainian region of Odessa, while 3 people were injured in shelling on the southern city of Kherson. It comes as Kyiv braces for a second winter of Russian attacks. Separately, debate is intensifying there on whether Ukraine should hold elections next year while it fights off the Russian invasion. President Zelensky says now is not the time. With more on those comments, here's our Ukraine correspondent, Gulliver Cragg.
Volodymyr Zelensky's declaration that the time is not right to hold elections in Ukraine didn't come as any surprise. First of all, because there's martial law in place, and that means the elections are postponed automatically anyway, according to the constitution. There had been some talk of changing the constitution in order to hold the elections anyway, but I think public opinion in Ukraine understands that there are huge difficulties and costs that the country can't afford involved in that. How do you organise elections when you've got soldiers serving on the front line, a fifth of the country's territory occupied, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, still abroad who would like to vote. And so it's certainly not a surprise, but the decision perhaps came in the context of the particularly difficult period that Ukraine is currently going through. First of all, the world's attention is away from Ukraine because of events in the Middle East. Also, the counteroffensive has not delivered the results that Ukrainians were hoping for. Also, there have been 2 tragic events in the last few days. On Saturday, some 20 or so top artillerymen were killed when an awards ceremony was hit by a Russian rocket. Volodymyr Zelensky said that tragedy could and should have been avoided, and an investigation has been opened. And then yesterday, a top aide to Valery Zelensky, the chief of general staff, died in his own home, apparently by accident when a grenade exploded. An investigation there has been opened too. Valery Zelensky, of course, is the man who delivered in the British newspaper The Economist his sober assessment that it's unlikely that there's going to be a breakthrough for Ukraine's counteroffensive anytime soon, and that the war is entering a period of positional warfare or perhaps even a stalemate. I've been talking to soldiers here in Kyiv who are back from the front lines, and they say they're not at all surprised and they don't disagree with Valery Zelensky's assessment. They're a little bit surprised by the way that people in Kyiv didn't seem to have realised that that was the situation. One said, just look at the map, you can tell that we are not really advancing at all at the moment. But what they placed the emphasis on was the solution that Valery Zelensky proposed. He obviously was not suggesting Ukraine give up or even negotiate with Russia or accept a long period of positional warfare. He said the country had to get out of this situation by asking for more help from the West and for being very precise about what is needed in order to regain the technological advantage that would allow the Ukrainians to start advancing again.